A very warm welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us on this edition of K24 Inside Business, the last word in business. My name is Sarah Adam. Later in the hour, we'll have a discussion that will focus on technology. We'll be telling you how technology has disrupted business models. We'll have that discussion later in the hour, but for now, let's take a look at what is making headlines in the world of business. Murang'a High Court has directed the Office of the Auditor General to conduct an independent audit on 10 factories. Kenyans moved 2.87 trillion in the first 8 months. And turnover at the Nairobi Securities Exchange fell in 3 consecutive quarters. For a top business story, Murang'a High Court has directed the Office of the Auditor General to conduct an independent audit on the 10 tea factories in Murang'a County. This follows the move by the county government through the Governor, Mwangi wa Iria, to go to court seeking answers to decline in the bonus payment for the year 2019. Linda Koskei tells us more.
The High Court has ordered the Auditor General to verify the tea volume supplied to the Kenya Tea Development Agency KTDA by farmers between 2018 and 2019. Justice Kanyi Kimondo, issuing the orders in case filed by the Murang'a County government, also directed an audit of bonuses paid to farmers over the period.
Today we went to court because farmers have sent us to court, me as their governor, in public interest, so that we can understand what went wrong with their money this year.
And still I'm so concerned about the task force of 2017 report. It is never implemented. Kwa hivyo ningetaka serikali ya Kenya, tafadhali under our President Uhuru Kenyatta, let us implement that task force report. At least mkulima wa majani chai awe na mtetezi pale mashinani.
In his application, Mwangi wa Iria wants the financial accounts of the KTDA made public due to what he termed as continued reduction of the tea earnings.
Hii pesa tunapatiwa ni KTDA. Inakuliwa na ile company nyingine wametengeneza KTDA. Na KTDA mimi nilimpa kazi moja ya kuchukua majani kwenda kuuza na kupatia wakulima. Sasa ameenda kutengeneza kazi nyingine ya majani insurance, majani ketepa, green weather na makabuni nyingine. Tena wananunua mashamba, wanajenga manyumba mazuri ya kifahari kama huko Runda au pahali nyingine. The
petitioner said there has been an unexplained substantial drop of tea payments amounting to 2.6 billion shillings or 36% from 11.2 billion shillings in 2018 to 8.9 billion shillings this year. Lead counsel Charles Njenga told the court that the issue was of public interest and that if not looked at, farmers would continue uprooting tea bushes, affecting the economy of the country. The county government said it would foot the bill for the independent audit since it represents the farmers. Linda Koskei, K24, Inside Business.
Now to our discussion for today, the one we promised on technology. Now, Cellulant co-founder and Chief Executive Officer Ken Njoroge was named this year's Social Entrepreneur of the Year by Schwab Foundation, affiliated with the World Economic Forum. The foundation annually identifies and recognizes leading social entrepreneurs from around the world. Now, joining us is Ken Njoroge, who is the CEO of Cellulant. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So how can we use, or entrepreneurs use, the digital space to ensure that actually they can be able to compete globally? Because tech has been a global trend.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, tech is global, and the good thing about it is it's about knowledge, and everybody has access to the same knowledge in this day and age. The other thing is that actually tech will transform almost every industry we know. We've seen it transform banking and how people pay and send money and so on. It will transform everything, insurance, how we shop and so on. So for entrepreneurs, of course, this is a huge opportunity for them to get into new spaces or basically build solutions that actually change lives in all of this all of these ways. And that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years, and I think it's a joy to do that.
Okay, and how can Kenyan fintech companies grow? Because Cellulant sold at least 44.04% stake, valued at $4.8 billion, to the U.S. best social impact investment company. So how can we see like a growth in the different companies reach to a point where Cellulant has?
Yeah, I think in terms of growth, I think it's fast to believe that it's a huge space and it's a huge area of opportunity. And for entrepreneurs to actually build their businesses, their teams, their solutions they have, and their discipline to actually follow through and serve customers in all of the different ways that are evolving. And then in technology, you have to always keep innovating. We've been around for 15 years, and actually in those 15 years, we have maybe changed form about 3 times. And of course now, even when we are launching this new app called Ting, it's also another journey in evolving. So this is necessary for us to be able to provide the next set of innovations and to grow.
Okay, and while you're mentoring, because you mentor techpreneurs, what are the pointers that you give them to ensure that actually when they're starting their own startups, they do well in the market?
Yeah. Well, in my mentoring, and I mentor both in the business, I've been doing it for 15 years, so there are younger, more energetic guys in the business, and of course out there are more young entrepreneurs. So my messaging is usually focused on several things. There are not too many. The first is that we have to build businesses that are founded on the values we want to see in the country. Businesses that are built on no corruption, businesses that are built on innovation, not political patronage, and so on. That's really important. The second one is basically standards. If we want to change the country, we want to change the continent, we have to really aspire for very high standards of service, high standards of the things that we do, high standards of work, high standards of discipline. If you don't do those things, we don't think we can really make a difference, and of course it will define how successful it will limit how successful you can be. The other one is actually that entrepreneurs themselves have to understand that it is not a one-man show, it's a team sport. We only have grown to where we are because we've built very good teams around us, and we have allowed them to grow, and we have supported them to grow, and we have shared our time, our business, and even the ownership of the business with them, and that's important. If you don't do those things, chances are that you will struggle to grow over a long period of time.
Okay, and in terms of governance, have you found any challenge?
No, you can't have a challenge in governance. You can decide very early that you need to be governed properly from day one, and then you have to seek very respected people who share your values to actually govern the business. In our case, 15 years ago, we asked our current chairman, Dr. Kirutu, to help us govern. So he brought a lot of adult supervision, a lot of wisdom when we were very young and highly volatile and aggressive, and that shaped and helped steer the business. And of course, every time we go, we expand the board of directors to have additional skills that the business needs. So that's very important. Okay,
and in terms of regulations, do you think the ICT sector has done enough to regulate this particular space?
Yes, I think the regulation in ICT sector and in fintech and in Kenya generally has tended to be very healthy. The central bank allowed M-Pesa to go to market, provide a lot of supervision throughout the journey of M-Pesa, and it continues to do so. And the general mood in the country from all regulators, the central bank, the communications authority, even the consumer, the anti-competition body, is generally very healthy. I have just seen recently, of course, the worrying trend where some of the innovative little shuttle and swivel, the regulatory action there, that doesn't send the right signals. I don't know the details for why the regulators ended up doing that, but that's not a good sign. That shouldn't actually happen. It doesn't provide a conducive environment, but generally the environment has been good except for those instances.
Okay, so apparently they did not have the correct licenses which they are operating. I hope they do get those particular licenses to be able to continue operating. And Rwanda has just launched marathons. Do you think Kenya, are we close to that?
I think so. Rwanda is a very special country. I think it's very determined to succeed and so on, and we have to understand that in that case they have a certain advantage that Kenya does not have. Kenya, on the other hand, I think we have a lot of talent in the country. We are known to have the producers of really technology talent, so we are also stand in a good space. But I think a lot of our innovation is going to be on the software side. In that area, we are leading, and fintech and so on. So I think Rwanda will have its moments, and we will have our own moments. But we need to get as disciplined as the Rwandese are.
Okay, and Celilant had earlier had plans to venture into 2 new African markets. Yes? What are the prospects for Celilant?
Yes, actually, it's a good question. We've actually done very well there because we have a presence in 11 countries now. And just this year, we actually hired people in another 7 countries. So we have people as far as Egypt and Morocco. We have teams. We have put people in Ethiopia. We have put people in Senegal, in DRC. And we'll continue to do that. Our desire is actually to have offices in about 27 countries from the current 18. And to have all our services accessible in all African countries over the next few years.
Okay, and still in the ICT sector, we've seen retrenchment due to ICT and due to technology disruption model. Are we going to see more of this in future?
Yeah. I think, of course, as you know, that as technology continues to grow, it takes away some jobs, but also it creates others. So the way to think about it is to say that technology actually forces jobs to shift from one area to another. And because it makes things efficient, it can create more growth. Of course, during the transition phase, there's a lot of discomfort. There's a lot of pain in other areas. But if the people are progressing, the education system is progressing in line with the times, and the technology companies are growing and the economy is growing, then we are able to make that shift from time to time. Is the country prepared for a shift? Not really. I think the education system needs to move faster. The universities need to churn out the right level of skills. At the moment, they are not. And our organizations are not responding to the threats of technology. That's why they are shedding jobs. Nobody should not be growing in this day and age. Technology provides tremendous opportunities for growth. So the companies that don't adapt, they are going to shed more jobs, unfortunately, and some of them are going to shut down over the next few years. There's no question about that.
Do you think as a country we focus more on theory than practical when it comes to being in school, than practical skills for students to actually get those particular skills to be able to practice them when they go to probably their job or they start their business?
I think that the current graduates that are coming out of most of the local institutions, they are not ready actually for the marketplace, that's for sure. We suffer as an employer. We now employ about 450 people or so, so we see this gap in the people. But I've reason to be very hopeful, because when I look at the new education system, I know there's a lot of noise around it, and I don't know what the noise is about. But when I look at our young kids, young nephews who are going in the new education system, I really like what is the activities that they are doing, the innovation. There was a lot of hula baloo around kids going to clean the markets and gas masks. Why is that a problem? That is very practical. It is their environment. They're being socialized for the problems of the environment. That is okay. We are training the next generation of entrepreneurs. Can it be implemented better, faster? I would like actually for it to really go faster, maybe even across to university earlier, because those are the skill sets that we are missing when we see graduates coming out of the current system.
All right. And how can we leverage on the ICT sector to ensure that even in business places, you ensure that actually you get high returns, and at the same time, those particular innovations cross the Kenyan border?
Yeah, so, okay, that's a very good question, and I could tackle it in 2 ways. The first one is, I think the businesses just need to adapt technology. They can't bury their heads in the sand. I think when I look at most businesses, I talk to most business executives, they bury their heads in the sand in one form or another, right? Either they are not accepting that it will change them in the way that it will, or some of them basically tick the box. You do something and you think that you're ready for the digital wave. I think if people face the reality that it's going to transform every industry and you face it head on and you try to find answers, start early, we have a chance. For the entrepreneurs, I think it's a fantastic place for you to start a digital business and go out and start something and find an industry to change, I would say.
Can you rate us like from 1 to 10 when it comes to ICT or just innovation in, what rate would you give, 1 to 10?
I think in financial services, Kenya, I would rate Kenya at 8 out of 10. In all of the other industries, I would rate our ranking maybe somewhere between 2 and a 4. So there's lots of work to be done.
Okay, thank you very much for this discussion. And that is Ken Njoroge, who is the CEO of Cellulant. He's been able to talk about the ICT sector and the challenges in this particular sector and also the success that has hit this sector. Now moving on, the turnover at the Nairobi Securities Exchange fell in 3 consecutive quarters of the year as the main indices also dipped. A major reason for the decline in the equities trading has emanated from the shift to the fixed income securities, mostly those floated by the Treasury in its drive to raise money to finance the annual budget. Standard Investment Bank showed the turnover stood at 30.6 billion in the third quarter of the year compared to previous 33.3 billion, which is a 8.1% downward change. In the first quarter of the year, the turnover was higher at 46.6 billion, meaning the market had shed off 16 billion turnover by the end quarter of the third year. Okay, we are currently joined by Mercy Milanoi, who is currently attending the International Maritime Organization Conference. Good afternoon, Mercy. And what is the latest coming from that particular sector, keeping in mind that maritime sector has the potential but has not been tapped into?
Well, good afternoon, Sarah. Yes, we are here at the meeting that has been convened by the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and also the International Maritime Organization. And the main conversation is integration of the maritime sector across Africa. If you remember, is that this year African countries have been taking their time to sign and also ratify the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And the conversation is here is how to integrate the maritime sector to ensure that there is effective movement of goods from African countries, especially across the African coast, and also to harmonize regulations that will be favorable for businesses during the transportation of their goods, especially using water transport. And also keeping in mind that also lately we've been having a bit of a protest about still the maritime sector, especially the transportation of cargo. And for the conversation that is happening here is on an African level and how to streamline water transport to ensure that trade within Africa is done in an effective way. Sarah.
Thank you very much, Mercy Milanoi. She'll be giving us the latest from that end. Now moving on, Turkana residents are set to benefit from the 700 million water supply and sanitation project. They say the project will have tremendous benefits for Turkana households who have been facing a severe water crisis and biting drought. Caroline Jenga with this report.
The Turkana government, in collaboration with the Korean International Cooperation Agency and UNICEF, are on course to strengthen community resilience to climate change through improved wash services. Andrew Trevet, chief of WASH in UNICEF, said Turkana people have suffered for many years due to scarcity of water resources and poor sanitation. Trevet said the total cost of the investment project of water supply and sanitation will amount to 700 million shillings in a time frame of 4 years to help residents of Loima and Turkana Central sub-counties. He said water and sanitation issues were central to all sectors of development and called on MCAs to prioritize provision of water during the budgeting process. Koeka Kenya Deputy Country Director Yang Jenghan urged the county and national government to be involved in implementation of the project, who she said was dependent on better coordination of stakeholders. While opening the stakeholder sensitization and review meeting on strengthening community resilience to climate change through improved wash services, Turkana Governor Josephat Nanok said the county government was allocating a bigger percentage of its budget provision of water services. They called for joint investment by both tiers of government with support from partners to provide solutions to rising water needs caused by rapid urbanization and population growth. He said test pumping of 8 boreholes has been done at Supel, Natir and Natwell, among other areas, which will then be equipped with solar systems. Caroline Jenger for Inside Business.
Thank you very much, Caroline Jenga, for that report. Now, moving on, Kenyans moved 2.87 trillion in the first 8 months of the year, representing a 10.3% rise over 2018 transaction worth 2.6 trillion in a similar period. Data released by Central Bank of Kenya indicates increased provision for service payable via mobile money informed the rise. Kenyans settled payments for service received and goods bought locally as well as abroad via mobile money. Now, payment of school fees, retail purchase, utilities, online books, as well as increased adoption of mobile money payment services for public transaction has informed higher movement of money via mobile phone payment platforms. The platforms have also been embraced by lender-only companies operating via mobile apps that have seen Kenyans access loans without the need to visit a bank branch. Now it's time to take a look at how the shares are performing at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. We want to take a look at the top gainers and top losers of the day. How are these particular shares performing? Now we have INM, the price share is 48.55 cents. That's the price share, and the percentage change is 7.65%. Uchumi at 29 cents. That is the price share, and the percentage change is at 7.61%. And Kenya Airways is at 2 shillings and 63 cents. That is the price share, and the percentage change is at 1.94%. Now we look at the top losers. We have Crown Paints, which is at 72 price share, and the percentage change is at -10. Car and General at 26.6. That is 26 and 6 cents. That is the price share, and the percentage change is at -10. And IGAD has the price share of 11 and 30 cents, and the percentage change is at -9.66%. That is the top gainers and top losers of the day. Now we want to look at how currency is performing against other major currencies. That is the Kenyan currency. Now we have US dollar, which is buying at 103.69 cents and selling at 103.89 cents. Now the sterling pound is at 127.71 cents, buying and selling at 127.99 cents. We have the euro, which is at 113.97, buying and selling at 114.22 cents. The rand is at 6 shillings and 84 cents. Buying and selling at 6 shillings and 86 cents selling. The Tanzanian shillings is at 22 shillings, buying and selling at 22.22 cents selling. And the Ugandan shillings is at 35 shillings and 46 cents, buying and selling at 35.63 cents selling. And that is how our Forex watch is looking like for today. We've been able to look at the top gainers, top losers at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and now you know where you